This is For the Governed, a podcast series brought to you by Athalonz. Here are your hosts, Tim Markison and Ron Cates.
Welcome to another exciting Athalonz podcast. I'm Ron Cates. With me is the CEO and founder of Athalonz, Tim Markison. Today we're going to talk about pursuing one's dreams. Tim, you had a dream of being a professional baseball player.
I did. So, I've talked in previous podcasts and we blogged about it. I had a difficult childhood. I was sexually assaulted at home and at school. So the two places that children are supposed to be the safest, they weren't safe for me. Yet, through my childhood, I dreamt of being a Major League Baseball player. And that dream gave me hope. So no matter what was being done to my body, no matter what was being done to my psyche, it didn't touch that dream. And that dream got me up in the morning. That dream gave me something to look forward to. And it made me feel like when I was on the baseball field or dreaming about baseball, that I actually mattered, that people cared about me, that I was worthwhile. Otherwise, I lived in constant fear. I felt I was useless. So that dream of being a Major League Baseball player literally saved my life.
I know that you were a good athlete, and even with these things going on at home, my guess is that one of the most attractive things about baseball to you as a child was that you were getting some positive feedback there where maybe you didn't get it anywhere else.
Yeah, that was definitely part of it. And then the interesting thing about sports is there's objective standards of good and bad, and everywhere in between. So, I was for my age, I was the best player in town, and for the age above me, I was pretty much the best player in town. So that gave me, some accolades. And when I was on the baseball field, other people were cheering for me. Now, when I went home, my father would critique my game, and I could go 3 for 4 and throw a one-hitter, and all I would hear about for the next 2 days is how could I give up a hit, or why did I make that one out? So it created a weird love-hate relationship with baseball. But in my mind, in my dream of being a major league player, then you couldn't deny that I was good. And then people would cheer for me and care for me, and I would be of value.
Your dream of becoming a professional player ended because you had some injury issues.
It felt like my dream of being a Major League Baseball player was starting to become real. I injured my back, and within an instant, that dream was taken away. But that dream got me to go to college because I had no intentions of going to college, but for to play baseball. And then in college, I started to excel scholastically, and I was in an electrical engineering program. So baseball got me into college. And for years after the injury, I really resented the dream. It's like, how could the universe be that cruel? To give me this dream, to get me close to realizing it, and then just like that, it was gone. And it was years later when I found it finally got into perspective for me. My dream of being a Major League Baseball player wasn't about actually becoming a Major League Baseball player. It was a path through my childhood that led me to college. So it gave me something to look forward to. It got me going in that direction. So now, instead of being resentful and angry towards the universe for having that dream, I'm very grateful. Because had I not had that dream, I can almost assuredly say I wouldn't be sitting here. I don't know if I'd be alive today, but for that dream.
So that led you to college. I know you've got an engineering degree, but you ended up becoming one of the country's top patent attorneys. How'd that figure into this?
Yeah. As we've talked before, my oldest daughter was born with a congenital heart defect and required open heart surgery when she was 8 months old. And a couple of years after her surgery, by the way, she's now 37 and doing fine. But she had open heart surgery, and from the time she was born till she had that surgery, she was in and out of the hospital 6 times. And
Now, how old were you at this
I
time?
was 23, and my wife was 22 when she had the surgery.
So I'm guessing that this was pretty much out of the realm of being able to afford it.
It was so far out of the realm of us being able to afford it. I was a junior engineer finishing up engineering school. I was making $18,000 a year. Even with insurance, Amy's medical, just for the drugs, was almost $600 a month. So almost all our money just went to her medications. And so a few years after the surgery, we ended up getting sued by the hospital. And I started calling around for attorneys to defend us, and they all wanted at least $5,000. And I was like, I don't have the money. I mean, I don't deny that.
If I had $5,000,
I
I would use that to help pay the hospital.
Yeah, but so that was the problem. So I defended myself and got a $40,000 bill reduced to $20 a month for 3 years. And so that sparked a desire to go to law school. And that spark then grew. So I started looking at, well, what law school I want to go to, what would I do with a law degree, an engineering degree, and that's where I understood, discovered patents. And so I actually went and interviewed some patent firms just to find out what the lifestyle was like. So I researched it, and the more I looked into it, the more I knew I wanted to go to law school, to the point where I had to act. So I enrolled. That's how I ended up going to law school.
So I know that you grew up in Chicago.
Yep.
That was pretty much your sole experience. But you ended up in Hawaii. You ended up here in Phoenix, or outside of Phoenix in Mesa. How did that come about?
Yeah, so that was me following another dream of mine. In one of my first engineering jobs, so I was still 24, 25, but as a child, even up to that point, I never really traveled. So my first business trip was to Long Beach, California in February. So weather in Chicago in February is usually pretty crappy, cold, cloudy. I get out to California and it's 75 and sunny, and it kind of opened up a whole new world. It's like, man, I don't have to live in this cold climate unless I want to. So that really kind of sparked, hey, I'd rather live in a warm climate. I like being outdoors. I like playing outdoor sports. So that sparked a desire to move that within 7 years, 8 years, we ended up moving to Austin, Texas.
And who are you working for then?
I was working with Motorola. So
had that experience pan out and change you?
I felt very fortunate that I got a job at Motorola. I was just started law school. I was like 3 weeks into law school, and I got fired by my engineering job. That's one of our other blogs we talked about. But at the end of October, I started working for Motorola and in their patent department, and it was great. I had a boss who really taught me a lot about how to be a patent attorney, was very encouraging for me to try different things. And at the time, Motorola was very much into cycle time reduction and Six Sigma quality. So how do you do things better and faster? And they wanted the patent department to figure out ways to write patents better and faster. And my boss encouraged me to do that. And I came up with a technique. I was still in law school, but I came up with a technique that improved the quality, but also I could triple the number of cases that I wrote. And part of that, sharing that experience, I was required by the head of our department to go to all the other departments and teach them how to write patents better.
And you were still really young then, right?
I was just finishing law school.
So I'm sure that you were welcomed with open arms.
Oh, they loved me. I was
Here's
labeled
this kid.
I was labeled the golden boy, sarcastically. And there was one attorney, every time he saw me in the hallway, he'd just punch me in the arm because I changed the status quo. But that couples into my desire then to move. So when there was an opportunity to move from Chicago area to Austin with Motorola, I took it. And it was a totally different world. in the Austin patent department. My boss there seemed to go out of his way to make my life miserable. And even though I was doing the exact same job, it was a horrible experience. And I only stayed there a year. And I had assumed that I was going to be a Motorola, work for Motorola for my entire career. But that now led to a whole different spark inside me. It's like, I think I want to start my own law practice. And that spark kind of grew and grew and grew to the point where it's like, you know what, it's time. I need to start my own law practice. So a few years after leaving Motorola, I started my own law practice, and that was 24 years ago now. So I've been doing my own law practice for 24 years.
So you've had these defining moments that you've turned into incredible opportunities. How did Athalonz get started? What was the moment there that triggered this to happen?
Being a big baseball fan and loved playing baseball, I started playing adult baseball after I finished law school. And went to a pro ball camp, which is a camp taught by major league coaches for older players that want to learn how to play baseball better. And Rick Adair was a pitching coach for the Orioles at the time, and he was one of the coaches. And he had this drill of using a rosin bag underneath the heel and outside of the foot to shift that knee inward. And so we got talking, and he goes, man, it'd be really interesting if that concept could be put in a shoe. And then with my engineering background, it's like, I think I can figure that out. So that's how Athalonz got born. And then it turned into a whole pursuit. So for me, dreams aren't just a daydream. I have these ideas that pop into my head, and it's like, wow, that's kind of intriguing, and it'll spark a little bit of passion, and then some will fade away. But others, they keep re-entering my head and building more and more passion to the point where I have to act. And, with respect to Athalonz, it was understanding why the shoes mattered, why that positioning mattered. And then, taking it to, what do I really want to accomplish in life and with the business? And that's why we do so much with Safe at Home and other child abuse prevention organizations. That's one of the things that I really working towards now is making a positive difference.
So everyone has defining moments in their lifetime. They have these big experiences, these big aha moments, but very few people do anything with that. Why do you think you're different?
I don't know if I am different. I get the passion inside me builds and builds and builds to I can't help but act and try and make that a reality for myself. And maybe if I am different in any way, it's the stubbornness, persistence that I know this is supposed to work out some way. I don't know if this thought that I have now is actually supposed to materialize as I'm envisioning it now, but I know it's going to lead me to the next right point in my life, which may take me this way and then that way, but I'm going to end up fulfilling what I'm supposed to do.
I know that you're a dad with 2 daughters. Growing up in an abusive, with an abusive experience at home, an environment at home, how does that motivate you? Why did you even bother to become a dad?
Well, I knew throughout my childhood that I wanted to be a parent, and I wanted to be a better parent than mine were to me. I don't know why that set in me, but I always knew that I would be. And that has motivated me to, work on myself, to heal my wounds so that I could stop the cycle of abuse in my family, which who knows how many generations it's been going on. I was able to, and never started the cycle with my girls. So I feel really, really good about that. And then the more I heal with myself, I hope I become a better parent and a better husband and just an overall better person.
So I know that you've got several things on next things. Here's what's next on your plate. Do you want to share a little bit of that with us? Like what's important to you right now that you haven't done yet?
Yeah. So, well, while we've got Athalonz up and running, we're still a long ways away from where we'd like it to be. Ultimately, I would like Athalonz to be a household name, recognized for quality products and quality people. But also, when you think about Athalonz, you also think about prevent child abuse. So every time you hear the word Athalonz, you think prevent child abuse. Then we can really start to make some positive difference in reducing child abuse.
Now, you've talked to me, too, about becoming an advocate for people pursuing their dreams,
Yep.
which is what this is about. How does that manifest itself?
Yep.
You've talked about thinking ahead. So what shape does that take?
Yep. So we're you and me, we're looking at starting a foundation. We're going to call it Interwoven.
That was a leading question, I think. Yeah, sorry. But
Well done. So we're looking at starting a foundation called Interwoven Circles. And it really is a spin on the Athalonz logo of the interconnection of mind, body, and spirit. But we're looking at that really kind of being, having 4 pillars that we're looking to promote. One is stopping abuse. The other is pursuing dreams, like the topic of this, creative thinking. And the 4th one is future visioning. So to me, those are areas that help generations to come have a better opportunity in life. And that's what I really want to commit myself to. And my big dream for how many years I have left here is how much of an impact can I make to help generations to come have better opportunities through those 4 pillars: stopping abuse, pursuing dreams, creative thinking, and future visioning.